Amber is the most hated character in the entire Invincible fandom, which is a bizarre thing to say given that Eve's father is the one who deserves that title. Countless video essays, tweets, and parodies have been made to discuss how awful Amber is and how Mark deserves better. Yet people have been so focused on insisting that Amber is an awful character that they fail to realize how her relationship with Mark is meant to serve as a commentary on the struggles of a relationship between a superhero and their civilian love interest. Invincible would end up being a precursor to series such as He-Man Revelations and My Adventures with Superman, in which when the love interests discover their partner's secret identity and respond in a way that viewers don't find acceptable, it results in everyone calling that character awful, with viewers getting into arguments over who's right. Yet while Amber may have set the precedent, I honestly think that Invincible handled this plot beat far better than the other two did. Now, Amber wasn't always the most hated character. For most of season 1, the only hate I ever saw towards her was from obnoxious folks who complained about her not being white like she was in the comics. Apart from that, most folks seem to be pretty neutral on her. But that all changed when Amber revealed that she knew Mark was invincible after he revealed his identity due to her breaking up with him. This ended up being a problem given Amber's reaction towards Mark since she saw him fighting the Rihanna man.
Guys, the police are on their way.
Where the hell did you go?
I ran for help. I tried to get security, but there wasn't anyone.
Lying piece of
Wait,
shit.
no.
When this was revealed, the internet turned into a hellscape with Amber being painted as enemy number 1. Now, I was never on the Amber hate train. While I could understand people's frustration and even agree that the angle of her knowing all along could have been done better, I didn't feel this burning hatred towards her. The hate surrounding her felt overblown to proportions, and after rewatching season 1 along with watching their relationship in season 2, I've come to realize that not only do I like Amber, but I also love her relationship with Mark. At the start of the series, Mark has yet to get his powers, but that doesn't stop him from being someone who will try to help others and do what's right. It's how he ended up meeting Amber when he tried to stop Todd from harassing her. Keyword being tried. But despite getting his butt kicked, the fact that he tried to stand up for her is what led her to be interested in him. Now, I find Amber to be a pretty fun character. She's established as someone with a confident attitude who doesn't take people's BS and can be blunt, but she's also pretty sharp-witted and playful. She bounces off of Mark perfectly due to his awkwardness, with him stumbling at first when he ends up calling her for the first time so that they can hang out. And as their relationship continues, we get to see the two have fun banter with each other, with Mark finding Amber to be inspiring due to all the volunteer work that she does. Their relationship ends up mirroring Nolan and Debbie's relationship in several ways, with both relationships falling apart due to the secrets that Mark and Nolan kept from their partners. Trust and reliability are two things that Amber values, with her expecting both from Mark since she's invested in their relationship. Yet his superheroics begin to get in the way of their relationship, which starts causing problems. Now this right here is a staple of the secret identity conundrum, since the superhero will be forced to juggle their two lives while trying to figure out how to make it work. Mark's initial solution to this was constantly doing romantic gestures such as leaving notes in Amber's locker or surprising her with gifts. Yet this is the equivalent of covering a leaking pipe with duct tape. It may prevent things from getting worse, but it's not a permanent solution to the problem. I feel like the way Mark was handling this relationship is influenced by the relationship he saw between his parents. Nolan would constantly be busy due to being a superhero, with him having to cancel plans or leave at a moment's notice, but would make up for it by bringing back gifts or taking Debbie to restaurants. Yet the big difference between their relationship and his relationship with Amber that Mark fails to realize is that Debbie knows why Nolan is always busy with stuff. Now, before his relationship with Amber was on the rocks, he turned to Eve for guidance over having to lie to Amber about why he'd be gone, since he doesn't want to lie to her, but he also isn't ready to tell her his secret. This is what Eve has to say.
Look, once you tell someone your secret identity, that's it. So, if you're gonna tell Amber the truth, you better be serious about her. Are you serious about her, Mark?
Flash forward to their relationship being on the rocks as Amber vents to him about his constant flaking and false promises. If Mark was truly serious about Amber and their relationship, this would be where he tells her the truth. But if he isn't serious, he should have done the responsible thing and ended the relationship due to him not being fair towards Amber and being unable to balance both sides of his life. But instead of doing either, he tries to have his cake and eat it too by just promising Amber that he'll show up at the community center she works at to help out. He ends up not showing up because of... well, that, but honestly, even if he had shown up, it would have just been a temporary fix to an ongoing issue with their relationship. Now, because we, the audience, understand what Mark is going through, we're sympathetic to his plight. Yet most people don't even try to see things from Amber's point of view. To her, she's dating this seemingly great guy who makes it seem like he cares about her, yet he constantly flakes or makes up lame excuses. It's easy to take the side of the character whose point of view we're following, but it's also important to realize how the actions of that character can be interpreted by others in the story. After Mark recovers, he goes to visit Amber with her showing concern over Mark's injuries since despite their relationship issues, she still cares about him. Given that Amber will later reveal that she knows that Mark is invincible and that she's known about it for a while, I think it's safe to say that she was aware of Mark's secret at this point in time. Now she comments that she was ready to break up with Mark the night he failed to show up, but she doesn't try breaking up with him at that moment. This is probably due to how shaken she is by seeing how Mark is injured and doesn't want to hold that against him, but at the same time she's still upset, especially since she knows that Mark isn't being honest with her about what happened. But when Mark recounts the first time they talked on the phone, with him being nervous and her allowing him a do-over to get things right the second time, he asks Amber for one more chance, which she does give him. Again, she knows that Mark is keeping a secret from her, but she cares about Mark and finds his speech to be sweet, hence why she's willing to give him one more chance and allow him to tell her the truth. Now Mark is genuinely serious about making his relationship with Amber work since his beatdown from Battle Beast served as a wake-up call. He plans a weekend trip for him and Amber to tour university together, with him enjoying the school to the point that he asked Amber for the two of them to apply to the school together. Amber is unsure about this at first, but when Mark insists that he's serious about how this is what he wants, she agrees to it. There are two important things to take away from this moment. From Mark's point of view, he thinks that what he's doing is showcasing how serious he is about Amber since he wants his future to involve her. Yet he's so focused on the future that he's refusing to acknowledge the present, since if he wants things to work with Amber, he needs to tell her that he's invincible. But from Amber's point of view, it seems like Mark is taking the relationship seriously enough to the point that he's going to tell her the truth about him being invincible. The gesture of asking her to go to a university is a big step in their relationship, so surely if he's willing to make that kind of commitment, then it must mean he cares about her enough to finally be honest with her. Yet this all falls apart when the Rihanna man attacks and Amber yells at Mark for seemingly abandoning her. Again, this was a moment that made everyone hate Amber, since from their point of view, it made no sense for Amber to be angry at him. After all, why would she be upset about Mark abandoning her if she saw him fighting the Rihanna men and protecting everyone? Now I will admit that this scene is a mess, since the writers attempt to surprise the audience by having Amber know that Mark is invincible does make her look bad. Had we gotten a moment to showcase that she already knew that Mark was invincible beforehand, plus tweaking the dialogue, it could have worked. But I'm positive that the intention of this scene wasn't about Amber being mad at Mark for ditching her to save lives, because that isn't who Amber is. Her anger stems from the fact that despite Mark making it seem like he was truly serious about her, he lied to her face yet again. So how is she supposed to believe that he cares about her if he doesn't care about her enough to be honest with her? This leads to her breaking up with Mark, which in turn results in Mark finally choosing to tell Amber his secret identity. In your standard superhero story, the hero choosing to tell their love interest their secret identity after they get dumped results in an instant fix. After all, how on earth could a love interest be mad at their partner for constantly flaking on them or telling lies, since they now realize that they were saving lives all that time? This is even what happened in the comic between Mark and Amber. But Invincible is a series that loves to subvert its superhero roots just as much as it loves embracing them, so they decide to explore this standard plot beat from another angle. Mark thinks that by finally revealing his secret, everything will be forgiven, only to be left confused when Amber is still mad at him despite knowing that he's invincible. But what Mark fails to understand is that he toyed with Amber's feelings and lied to her for months despite constantly saying that he was serious about the relationship. He's making the same mistake that he's been making the entire time, in which he thinks that a grand gesture is all it takes to help maintain a relationship. People think that Amber is being unfair towards Mark, when in reality, it's the other way around, since she was the one being lied to for months. She's fine with the fact that Mark is a superhero, but what she isn't fine with is him making her feel stupid and not trusting her with his secret until after she broke up with him. People have gotten so used to the idea that a love interest will instantly forgive their partner once they reveal their big secret that they can't comprehend the idea that revealing said secret isn't always an instant fix. I can understand why some people would be willing to instantly forgive someone once they reveal their secret, but it's also valid for a person to still feel hurt and betrayed by a secret being kept from them, especially if it's from someone that they care about. A lot of folks love to compare Amber to Lois from My Adventures with Superman, with folks even saying that the latter handled this plot beat better. While I do agree with that to a certain extent, since that series showed us Lois figuring out that Clark was Superman, whereas we didn't get a moment like that with Amber, I would argue that Amber is more justified to be angry than Lois was. By the time of their breakup, Mark and Amber had been dating for 6 months. Meanwhile, Lois and Clark had only known each other for like a month at most, with them not even dating. Yet despite that fact, Lois forced Clark into revealing his secret by jumping off a building. Yes, I know that it's a staple of Lois as a character, and I'm not even saying it's out of character for this incarnation of Lois, but Amber never tried to force Mark to confess in such an extreme way. Now, to a certain extent, I can understand why Mark would be hesitant to tell Amber his secret. Revealing such a thing is a huge step for any kind of relationship. Then there's various things for the character to worry about, such as how revealing that secret can put their partner in danger, or being afraid of how they'll react to the truth. But at the same time, you can't keep hiding that part of your life from your partner forever. He seemingly had no intention of telling Amber his secret until after she broke up with him, when in reality, he should have told her much sooner. And it's not like Amber is the only one to call him out on his naivete over thinking that revealing his secret now will instantly fix things. Both William and Eve call him out on this way of thinking.
You were a terrible boyfriend to Amber and you got what you deserved.
Hey, you're the one who told me not to tell Amber I was invincible.
Yeah, but I didn't tell you to string her along for 5 months while being an asshole about it. Thought you'd figure that part out yourself.
Cut to the aftermath of Mark's fight with his dad, in which as he struggles to accept everything that has happened, Amber shows up at his house with her being relieved that he's okay before kissing him. Now, a lot of folks reacted to this moment in disbelief and proceeded to insult Amber by saying that Mark should have slammed the door in her face, or that he shouldn't get back together with her because of the way she treated him. But here's the thing, while she may have broken up with him, that doesn't erase the time they were together, nor would she care about Mark any less. For all she knew, he was dead, and she would be haunted by the fact that the last time they interacted was on a bad note. So of course she would be worried about him and be overwhelmed by him being okay. With that said though, them getting back together did feel off. I love them as a couple, but I feel like we should have gotten a scene where the two talk about their relationship rather than just sweeping everything under the rug. Now as of this recording, Mark and Amber's relationship has been going strong in season 2 as we get to see the two be a caring and cute couple. I've been seeing a lot of people go, oh wow, people hated Amber so much that the crew decided to fix her character. But no, that isn't what happened. The Amber we're seeing in season 2 is the exact same one we met in season 1. The only difference now is that Mark isn't keeping any secrets from her, with them now properly communicating with each other. However, I am preparing myself for the inevitable breakup between the two. While their relationship is in a good spot on the surface, cracks are starting to build due to Mark constantly having to leave for superhero duties. While Amber recognizes the importance of what Mark is doing and would never ask him to stop helping people, it would make sense that the lack of time they actually get to spend together would make her feel isolated. The struggles of being in a relationship with a superhero has even been explored both through the lens of Debbie and the existence of a support group for spouses of said superheroes. Some couples are able to make it work, but not everyone is equipped to handle the stress of dating a superhero, and I think that's a pretty understandable thing. So I can't hold it against Amber if this is a reason she gives as to why she breaks up with him. Mark and Amber relationship is very nuanced and layered, and it's a shame that more people don't seem to realize that. Viewers choose to only see things from Mark's point of view and insist that he did nothing wrong, while they paint Amber as this selfish and awful character when that couldn't be any less true. Mark made several mistakes that the show called him out on, yet people still insist that Amber is a real problem. And while the show did drop the ball by having Amber already know Mark's secret, she isn't a bad character, nor does she deserve all the hate that she gets. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell so you'll be notified when I make a new video. Until next time, I'm me out the heel.